Okay, thank you very much. Talking about a little bit about carbon footprint roadmap. So my name is Fernando Correa. I'm working from our offices in Madrid. Currently, I'm heading the process industry division of AFRY. So I've worked for quite many years at the company. I'm coming from the Finnish side of AFRY, Peru. So I have also taken part of many assignments in Chile. I had the opportunity to work in quite a number of projects, especially in the forestry sector. So going to the topic about decarbonization, we all know that carbon footprint responds to the whole amount of greenhouse gases produced by the activities of a person or entity. But in this term, what we are pursuing from the industry point of view, we target at reducing the carbon intensity in a particular system or industry. What that means that lowering the amount of greenhouse gas emissions produced by burning fossil fuels in particular. So emissions come from many sectors. All of them have an impact as long as they are producing something. We could say in general terms, for example, we have worked in a number of assignments in strong focus on all process industries. For the pulp and paper sector, we can see that we have recently studied, Morten also has mentioned some assignments in Chile. So the pulp and paper corresponds to quite a low share in the global platform, but that is equivalent. If we benchmark at country level, it's considerably high in many sectors. We see that sectors like mining, iron, steel are very relevant. Clearly, energy itself and road transportation, as well as residential buildings, are very relevant. Some of them we could influence through measures and initiatives, and other ones we have to tackle them by having measures to lower the impact. For example, in Chile, it's a very important producer of agricultural products. Some of them commodities which go to the international market, and there are a number of initiatives at world scale that could have a very relevant impact in lowering the footprint. As mentioned in particular about the food sector, some of them, the agro-industrial sector cluster has both those which are non-food and the food producing are very intensive in terms of carbon emissions. For example, the food supply chain, it's equivalent to 20% of the total anthropogenic greenhouse gas emissions. That is like 13.7 billion metric tons. If we could say that is quite a number of sites that we show later if we compare to the total emissions in Chile. That we have had access in Chile, for example, to the latest inventory, greenhouse gas emissions inventory, which was accounts for figures in 2018. We know that this inventory is the update of this inventory is ongoing, but we see over 100 million tons of CO2 equivalent in Chile, of which almost 80% are directly CO2, but we also have other greenhouse gas which are in volume smaller, but in terms of impact as relevant and even more than CO2 itself. We, as a engineer and technical company, we know that about what type of actions could be taken at company level, at industry level, to reduce emissions. So there are quite a number of global companies that have already set target carbon neutrality targets. We see companies which have a very aggressive and solid objectives. For example, the well-known Microsoft they have not only committed to have a net zero by 2030, but also they have further committed to reduce their carbon emissions currently to the level they had it in 1975 when the company was founded. Also, other global companies in different sectors, in chemicals, in IT, in food and pharma, they have set targets which commit to going net zero, or even achieving further aggressive, like below the 2 times the current emission levels. There are global initiatives. One very well known is, for example, Science-Based Target Initiative, of which basically companies with these global initiatives, they have a very good and well-studied, which have been well-proven emission reduction. And we as AFRY, we could also support this company in really implementing these objectives. I have listed here just an example on this Science-Based Target Initiative. There are almost 2,000 companies taking action globally, of which 900 has set aggressive targets. It means like lowering emissions below 1.5 degrees, the objectives of 1.5 degrees in global warming. We have 18 international companies from Chile in different sectors. You can see here which are those that have set the target, or the other ones who have a strong commitment in achieving targets. We have worked with some of these companies, some of the companies listed in this 18 Chilean companies, but I think the targets are not easy, and we could see that sustainability has been a cornerstone of AFRY. Sustainability means from the environment point of view, but also clearly the social aspect. But it's also very important to know what is the economical sustainability of the initiative. So the companies have to be responsible with the environment, but they also have to keep a very sustainable business growth so they can continue in operations. So while taking care of environmental and social aspect, the measures must also streamline with the actual economical concept of the companies. So as Morten was briefly mentioned, that we in AFRY, we take many actions in the sustainability front that's supporting our clients. And I will illustrate in the upcoming pages some practical examples of work done. So we are very knowledgeable about the industrial sector, in particular in Europe. We have already studied what is the potential for fully decarbonizing Europe when they started with the ambitious, setting the target and ambition. And our company has studied the whole industrial European sector, where we benchmark what is required in order to achieve the target, the full decarbonization by 2050. From our understanding, this is an extremely aggressive, although technically possible. It requires a lot of investment. This means, for example, that the whole energy sector has to be decarbonized by 95%. And this has implications also on industrial processes, on transportation, industrial heat, small scale and household heating, as well as power and large scale heating. We have worked, for example, with global utilities companies. In this example, we have carried out a study on what is the role of decarbonization, what needs, for example, in the car industry, if transportation should be or could be fully electrified, and what is the contribution of that to the plus-minus balance of the CO2 within the overall decarbonization strategy for Europe. And we have also carried out recently a study for the pulp and paper sector. There was a multi-company study for the sector in Spain. So basically the question here, what is needed what can be done at company level in order they know that it's not possible the full decarbonization, but they want to know how far they can go and keeping also the business sustainably alive. So we have gone through the estimation of what is the current emission level in the sector, depending on what is the fuel mix used, what is the major producer of CO2, and then we have identified alternatives and solutions that could be applied at company level on different fronts, that could be applied at company level in order to contribute to lowering the carbon footprint. So as a company, I mentioned that we, as a technology expert, we are in a position to provide sustainable solutions, supporting our clients in meeting their targets. As Morten presented in the earlier presentation, that we are in a very well position to estimate what is the carbon emission, what is the footprint, and then also we can contribute in the implementation of the technical solution for that. We have also done some other studies for in this case, for chemical companies, for identifying sustainable or bio-based alternatives that could lower what is the implication from fossil fuels, from fossil-based raw materials, as well as we have identified the greenhouse gas emission reduction potential in M&E production in over 40 industrial sites global. This is a very large global company, as well as other technologies like, for example, with very strong impact, what could be carbon capture and storage. As a company, we have been studying from quite a long time ago already about this alternative, this solution. We have done models of the impact, and also as more recently, we have also supported in the implementation of full-scale carbon capture project. This was one of the few projects already at a large scale implemented in this particular was is in Scandinavia for a cement company. And also we work in other sectors, very energy intensive, like we could say metal mining, finding green contribution to lowering the carbon footprint. So we go in all the sectors where AFRY operates, and we are in a position really to analyze the different sectors with the advantage of knowing very well what is the industrial platform in Chile. We should just to give a brief introduction on what are some of the initiatives we are carrying out in this topic, and happy to answer any comment that you may have, any question now or later on